All right, my friends, welcome to the Hope Collective, the Hope Calls YouTube channel, where I will be channeling messages with the help of the focus of tarot and oracle cards. I'll be channeling messages from my spirit guides, from the higher selves of my collective, and from benevolent, divine, and angelic forces beyond the veil to tell us what we need to hear today. It is November 6th. I live in the US. And I woke up today much earlier than I needed to and could not fall back asleep after I looked at my phone because I am heartbroken about the results of this election. And after some time comforting myself, reaching out to friends and finding reasons to cry and reasons to laugh on social media, I reached out to my spirit guides and started thinking about how to connect with them today in a way that was best for me to show me what I need to hear about this time in our world and in my life. And they immediately prompted me to start to turn that into what can they tell our collective? What messages does our collective need to hear today? And they guided me to this deck for our 3 starting cards today. That's what I've been shuffling while talking to you. I just interestingly turned the deck over to the back of the deck. And I think that is quite the opposite of how most of us are feeling right now. But I think there might be a message in there for us that might come up later in the readings. The division in our world, and specifically within my nation right now, I think feels quite the opposite of this. So I bet there's a reason that came out and why I was guided to look at the back of the deck. I'm pulling up the guidebook for this deck right now to see what it says there. There might be a message that my spirit guides want to highlight from that passage. And while I pull that up, I also want to mention that something my spirit guide said to me when I started to reach out to them, and they immediately turned me towards making this a collective channeling of messages and not just for myself. They told me, do not waste your grief. Do not waste your grief. And now that's not intended to tell anyone that it is ever a waste to feel your feelings at all, grief included and especially. There is no such thing as wasting your feelings when you are simply and truly being present with them. But they knew how much I needed to feel grounded in the reality that there are things I can do, even if they may not be the things I wish I could magically and miraculously do. The Happy Family card has the keywords closeness, fun, and caring. It's the card number 4 in this Energy Oracle Cards deck. And the upright meaning is the rainbow over this happy family portends a time of joy and celebration. Close connections are available, so don't overlook the fun and frivolity that a friend or family experience can bring. The value that you can find in a truly loving relative or friend brings a higher vibration to your life force. You may be distracted or busy, but remember to put this part of your life in the forefront of your priorities. If you're single, finding this card in your spread could indicate a potential meeting and perhaps relationship with someone who has children from a previous marriage. This ready-made family might bring some challenges, but it could be your destiny in this lifetime. This card may also simply signify a celebration coming up, such as a wedding, anniversary, or birthday party. The first portion of that message really stands out to me as the most likely reason why I was guided to this card. I'm going to set this over here and rearrange a little bit. I think the biggest message to all of us is to turn to each other and towards love and what brings more love into our lives and towards the connections that we can trust and lean upon, and to really focus on those when the bigger family of our human collective does not feel like something we can trust and rely upon. The changes that could evolve into a happy human family start within ourselves as we make peace with different parts of ourselves and within our found families, chosen families, blood families, wherever we are able to find peace and trust and connection. The message about being united with someone who has children from a past marriage, I think, could also be a metaphor. Similar to how I thought this might be a metaphor for reassurance that there is still the potential for this future for humanity, and that the destructive phases we are in right now, we do still have the option as a collective to transmute those and use them to pivot into our next phase. I think that big picture might feel like a gaslight or a bypass for a lot of us right now. It might feel too far into the future that we can't really genuinely use that as reassurance rather than just a bypass. But nonetheless, that is a message that is coming through. And that metaphor that I started explaining that with, about uniting with someone who has children from a past union, I think as we forge this future as a collective, as humanity, we do need to learn to love each other's past and the metaphorical children that we each have from our past, the fruits of our past. I apologize for stumbling over how to explain that metaphor and how to word it. But simply the idea that we cannot exclude anyone in this future. So just a reminder of both the collective family that we can forge in the future, and how to start with that in ourselves, with love for our inner children, safety for our inner children, and with the friendships and family we already have. So I apologize for stumbling over that explanation a little bit, but that message did demand to come through as a collective message for everyone on this reading. And now, without further ado, we will have timestamps in the description box for Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. And I will see you at your reading. All right, my friends, welcome to Group 1. I've set Group 2 and Group 3 significator cards aside, and this is Group 1's. I have not flipped any of them over yet, so let's take a look at what our first message for this group is. Door to Value. Number 31 in the Energy Oracle Cards deck. If Stephanie is here, shout out to Stephanie for purchasing this deck for me as a wonderful gift. And the description for card 31, the Door to Value, starts with the keywords new beginnings in finance or career, and says this card shows a door with a gold coin on it, open to a place that's filled with light and bright potential. Money, coins, and jewels fly toward you through the open door, revealing a golden city beyond. All of this points to the potential for exciting new beginnings or expansions where work or money are concerned. Perhaps a new opportunity is totally unexpected, or perhaps it's something you've been working toward for quite a while. Either way, keep your eyes open for this new beginning to appear in your life. Know that anything you value may be open to you now. Remain conscious and creative, and get ready to step through the door. Wow, so in light of my motivation, as you may have heard in the introduction for this reading, I am inclined to apply certain metaphorical interpretations to the messages coming to us, but that doesn't mean I think that I or we should ignore the obvious face value interpretations. I don't think this card would come through for this group if your collective didn't have some opportunities rapidly becoming available to you at this time that could lead to greater wealth, as well as greater resources that you value in all forms, all material forms especially. We have the sunlight and the flowers and the pastures and fields and structures in the background, and these elaborate opulent doors, as well as the literal money, all symbols of just different types of material abundance. At the same time, the specific keyword of value and the sentence, know that anything you value may be open to you now, is, I think, an important reminder to always ground yourself in what you value most. And also to be open to doors opening that are unexpected, whether that is in the realm of career or in a realm regarding other things that you value. I'm being guided to pull the top 3 off of this deck here to start the rest of your reading and the rest of your messages. But just to complete my reading of that card, just a reminder again, similar to how in the introduction there was the reminder to ground and root into the connections you have in your life and the people that you trust and care about, and to pour that love and care into each other. I think this is also a reminder to ground into your top values and into channeling any negative emotions at this time of your life and in the world into caretaking that which you value. Protecting it, yes, but not really protecting it aggressively against the outside world, but really pouring it into what you stand for and what you value. Not solely acting and thinking and feeling in resistance to that which seems like a threat to it, as it is much more nourishing to yourself and to that which you value to directly pour into it and build it up and nourish it. So let's take a look at our other messages from this deck. Second chakra, Archangel Ariel, number 36. Goddess of the Moon, number 52. And Healer of the Ages, number 51. Okay. The first message coming through very strongly is the message of the second chakra, coming through in conjunction with this magnificent first chakra red color here. This also helps clarify the message of this card for me, because our first chakra, our root chakra, is symbolized and nourished by the color red. Our second chakra is symbolized and nourished by the color orange. And more than that, our root chakra, our first chakra, is related to survival, which does relate to finances and money, and also to family connections, our relationship with our environment and our immediate surroundings and the world outside us, how we feel safe to open up to the world immediately surrounding us and outside us, and or feel that for our survival we need to shut down to it. So this message from the second chakra is an important reminder that caretaking what we value is essential to doing what it takes for us to reverse any inward, downward spiral movements that might have us closing off to the world more than is actually beneficial to us, closing off to the influx of nutrients from our roots, and closing off to our ability to actually receive objective information and data about our reality by being connected to the world, as well as to receive love and all the things that we really want and value. Every single chakra in the system of our body, including the ones that are, started to cough there but didn't, including the chakras that are much smaller than the 7 ones that we think of as primary in our traditional systems. Every single chakra is connected to the whole of our system. So for any chakra to be undernourished, or perhaps even collapsed, does compromise the rest of our system. So the connection specifically, however, between neighboring chakras, such as the root one underpinning and being the foundation for the second chakra underpinning and being the foundation for the third chakra, and so on, is a particularly potent and important connection for us to pay attention to and nourish if we are doing work on the chakra system or with the chakra system in our body. So that is part of why the message from the second chakra really reminds us to nourish and caretake our root chakra and provide it what it needs to maintain an open flow, just like the roots of a tree need an open flow for the tree to stay alive and to stay nourished and to stay healthy. Sometimes we all shut down to the world around us when we feel threatened, and that is okay. That's not something that is wrong with you or a deficit, but it's important not to stay committed to shutting down, closing off, and to isolating ourselves in our own little bubble. And the second chakra also reaffirms that, because although we primarily in high-level glossing over terms tend to think of the second chakra as all about sensuality, it is also about our connections and intimacy with other people emotionally, and our ability to have connections with people that are win-win rather than about power and domination, because the second chakra is very much connected to areas in which someone else has power over us, or we have power over someone else as well. So this is a reminder from Archangel Ariel and from your own energetic system of your ability to influence and be influenced by those around you, and the importance of nourishing intimate emotional connections with those around you as part of nourishing your root chakra and your life and keeping your whole system stable and healthy during what may be trying times. I felt guided as I was giving that information to start shuffling my tea leaf oracle deck and pull a couple of cards from there. Let's see what they have to say. We have Arrow. You are on the right path regarding some aspect of your life. An archway, new opportunities, possibilities, and paths opening up. That coincides perfectly with the door to value here. And the Arrow, I really heard very strongly, someone here needs to hear this, I guess, that keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing is the message for so many of you in this pile. And I'm hearing very strongly as I open up to that message of keep doing what you're doing, that many of you are already on the cusp of this door to value because of the hard work you have put in. Actually, I'm told not to say hard work, but simply the choices you have made to lead you to the point where you are now. I'm told not to affirm the negative conditioning that so many of us have around hard work being the only way to get what we need, to the point of driving ourselves into a shutdown and collapsed root chakra, into poor health, into being really tunnel visioned on survival to the point that it is impossible for us to thrive, even if we have in fact actually already opened the door to the abundance we need, or perhaps unlocked it and simply merely need to open it. I'm feeling called to pull more tea leaf cards, so I'm going to shuffle these a little more until more come out for me. Okay, we've got another one here. Let's see what this says. Beetle, good fortune. So another confirmation here that many of you have made choices, I'm hearing, over the last several years that have led you to a point right now where you may feel like you are on shaky ground, but regarding survival and bridging from survival to thriving, you're actually on the cusp, and it is not merely due to luck, it is because of your choices and your smart thinking. We also have bell announcement. Interesting. I'm feeling the bell as a really positive announcement, like wedding bells. For some of you, it could even be wedding bells. That could be part of the significant, important, stabilizing relationships that are grounding you in your life right now. And the happiness card. Yes, that is a wonderful, wonderful message. And I'm seeing the imagery of these birds here coinciding with the message of the arrow card here. Because they are they are flying. It feels like, to me, oh, this is so funny. I looked away from the card and looked back and realized that I had treated it almost like an optical illusion, and I had actually seen it incorrectly. I actually saw it as all the birds flying in one direction, which is why I thought it mirrored the arrow card. The birds were already on the right path towards their happiness and do not need to change direction. But when I look back at it, they are actually facing different directions, but now I'm seeing it as coming towards the viewer of the card. And that's the perspective that I'm seeing now. So it is like the announcement coming to you. And there's an interesting mirroring there. We have the two suns here, and we have the golden glowing light, and of course the energy oracle card. So I want to point out that symbolism echoing good fortune as well. But there's an interesting mirroring there with how the arrow is your responsibility to shoot. But this happiness and announcement are coming towards you. An announcement being rung over a loudspeaker or a bell is not something that you necessarily need to meet halfway. And these birds are actively flying. They're already coming towards you. They're already on their way. So the message that I'm hearing, again, clairaudiently like the previous ones, with you are already on the right path, keep doing what you're doing, is that you've already actually shot your arrow in the right direction. This door is already open in the door to value card. There's nothing more you need to do on this specific aspect of your life. The universe is coming to meet you halfway. The results of your own actions, the fruits of your own choices are coming your way already. I'm still feeling a pull to more tea leaf oracles, which is surprising me. I was expecting maybe fewer of these before moving on to the other energy oracle cards. Let's see here. March. Okay. With the sunlight here and the flowers in the March card and in the door to value card, there is definitely a metaphorical sense of springtime coming to your life. And just like the birds are already coming towards you and the door is already open, you do not need to march spring along. Forgive me for the pun. I'm definitely a pun person. But you do not need to march spring along. It comes. It comes naturally. You have already planted your seeds and watered them, and therefore the flowers will simply emerge with the spring rains, with the spring sunshine, with the sun on these arrow and happiness cards. And with that, I'm feeling a sense of completion from the tea leaf cards as they are now. And I'm checking in. I'm actually being guided to draw some tarot before we move on to pulling more messages from the remaining energy oracle cards. I have my Shadowscapes tarot deck here. It's the first tarot deck that I ever received, so there are some cards with water damage. Forgive me in advance if any of those get pulled. Okay, this one is calling out to me. We have the Four of Swords. Let's pull a couple more. We have the Ten of Swords. I see, okay. We have the Two of Cups. And we have the Star. Wow. Okay. I see why we needed to pull these before we move on, for multiple reasons. This is our spirit guides giving me, okay, and at the back of the deck we have the Ten of Wands. This is multiple things going on here, but one of them is that our spirit guides are giving me more information on how you do need the reassurance that you are on the right path. Keep doing what you're doing. Spring is coming. Happiness is inevitable. I just heard happiness is inevitable, so why not choose to focus on the things in your life that are already available to make you happy, the things that are already making you happy. I just heard that, so hopefully that lands for the people it needs to. But with the Four of Swords coming out first, that's a strong message of you need to rest. You need to rest. It's okay to rest, and you need to rest. And not only is it okay to rest, you don't dig up the bulbs in the spring going, why aren't you blooming yet? Why aren't you blooming yet? You let them rest in the soil so that they can be nourished by the rain and start to feel the warmth of the sun in their beds, and they will emerge naturally from their rest. So this is affirming again that with where you are right now, you've already shot the arrow. Rest. Wait for the next step to reveal itself to you, because when it does, it's going to be a pleasant surprise. I'm actually seeing and feeling that. I'm actually seeing someone having shot an arrow and being tempted to wait in anxiety with the Ten of Swords here, and rapidly being shown actually that the shot they took reaped better rewards, than they dared to hope. The Ten of Swords and the Ten of Wands are joining forces here. The Ten of Wands was on the bottom of the deck after I shuffled and pulled the Shadowscapes cards. And the Ten of Swords and Ten of Wands both speak to the end of a cycle, and they speak to that cycle having ended with immensely heavy burdens that need to be set down, released, or transmuted, so that you can not only need to be that, but that are being. The 10 signifies that you're at the stage of actually letting those down now, that there's no need to resist letting those burdens fall off your back or allowing them to be transmuted however you are guided to do so, and that it is time for you to be lighter, for the darkness to be transmuted to light, and for you to feel a lightness of mind and of heart, of mind with the swords and of heart with the wands, the swords representing the air element and the mental element, and the wands representing the fiery element. A lightness of mind and heart that might feel foreign to you right now. This is also echoing the message from earlier and clarifying why it was very important to not say anything to you that could risk you thinking that it's actually necessary or helpful for you to burn yourself out, working too hard, thinking too hard, trying to problem solve, when in fact that's not necessary or the appropriate response to your situation right now. So the Ten of Swords in the traditional tarot can sometimes be seen as the swords falling out of the victimized individual's back. So those worries that have been just plaguing the Nine of Swords card to the point of sleeplessness, the Nine of Swords figure or archetype to the point of sleeplessness, finally reaching their boiling point and falling away. And similarly, the Ten of Wands typically involves someone with a load of sticks, wands on their back, finally becoming the straw that breaks the camel's back and being set down and set free. I love that in this card, we have this image of someone actually transmuting the load on their back. The load on their back can have so many meanings with this potent and detailed, intricate imagery here. So there can be an element of you've actually been working to transmute the things you've been worried about and to turn lead into gold, I'm hearing. And that's especially fitting with our message of material abundance from the other cards in this reading. There may be things that you've been stressed about, but that by empowering yourself to work with them, you have actually created gold from the lead of these burdens. For some people, that might be psychological and emotional burdens with the swords and the wands mixing together here, where you have not only set yourself free from an issue that has plagued you, such as a mental health concern, but also learned a way to help others and to use your experience to bring more light into dark parts of people's minds and of the world. And there's a message within that I'm hearing to use that to light the corners of your own heart as well. Do not neglect yourself, I'm hearing. And I'm seeing these brilliant lights coming from these turrets here. It reminds me these images on the Shadowscapes deck are so intricate. I'm not sure if the artist still sells big posters and prints of them or not, but I think they did many years ago when this deck was new. And I've always wanted to examine those huge versions of these images, but I also can appreciate the multiple meanings you can pull when the images are a little ambiguous. Are these creatures floating above? Are these plumes of smoke coming from fireplaces? Are these lights like lighthouses that are beacons to guide other people to this castle? Either way, I did feel that was a message for you to light the hearths of your own heart, to not neglect your heart. When you light the hearths of your own heart, they will become a beacon for the rest of the world. And that is how you help. That is how you bring your expertise or your experience or simply your love to others, and how you help in times when it seems like there is powerlessness, when it seems like there is nothing you can do. You help by bringing light to the dark corners of your own heart, nourishing those parts of yourself with internal and external connection and love. And that lights you up so much that it becomes a beacon to others, something that can overflow to others. And that is the way to approach yourself in any situation in your life right now where you feel you don't know what to do. Very, very important. I'm really getting this highlighted so strongly from our spirit guides. Very, very important for you to rewire and reprogram yourself, so that instead of, in times of stress, you falling back on old programming and conditioning to work yourself to the bone, burn yourself out, just keep going, keep going, keep going, tunnel vision, survival mode. Very, very important to start to unwind from that, to comfort and caretake the parts of yourself that are so scared that they feel you need to default to that way of life in order to survive and in order to protect yourself. And to show them, actually, this is how we feed ourselves. This is how we nourish ourselves. This is how we nourish ourselves and the other people in our life. This is how we do both at the same time. This is how we give ourselves energy to do the work that we do need to do by feeding ourselves and loving ourselves, rather than forcing ourselves through it, pushing ourselves to do it through it at the cost of feeling loved and being able to receive, being open and able to receive rather than closed off. And that does bring us to the Two of Cups here. I giggled a little when that card came out because it is a card of just the most nourishing and fulfilling one-on-one emotional connection you could possibly have. It's sometimes read as a soulmate card. I do suspect that that could mean that for some of you, or just one or two of you, it is echoing the potential interpretation of the bell as wedding bells. That could be something in your future. The timing of March could even have to do with that for some of you. I just realized that the archway is also a very wedding-like symbology. Many people in many traditions do have their marriage or their hand fasting under an arch, their commitment ceremony, whatever it may be. And there are many traditions that even derive great joy and happiness and symbology out of the building of that arch, as a bridge between two people and a place where two people can meet under its safety from the elements. So there's a message here with this archway being made of stone and having all this earth and wildlife around it. It's clearly been around for a while. It's stood the test of time. There's a message here of, if you pour into yourself and into the connections that matter at this time, and use that as your touchstone every time you are tempted to the path of burnout, remind yourself, no, this is why I feed myself. This is why I feed the people in my life. This is why I go on, is for these connections to become so solid from me pouring into them every day that no matter what elements hit them, this is set in stone, carved in stone, grounded in the earth. It has roots that are well fed and healthy, so that even if the vine has to face some elements, the root will grow new vines back. So turn towards the intimate connections in your life, friendships, family, lovers, for the emotional nourishment that your second chakra is beckoning you towards, and that will sustain your root chakra endeavors for moving from survival to thriving, for material abundance and stability, for health as well as wealth. Remember that connection is one of the most important ways to feed yourself, and that it is part of transmuting psychological burdens, emotional, mental burdens, burdens of thought and emotion, to share them with others. I'm getting that quote in my mind. How does it go? A joy shared is a joy doubled, and a burden shared is a burden halved. That's not the exact wording, and I don't remember who said it, but that is the quote that just came to me as well, with reminding you that this Two of Cups energy of mutual nourishment in intimate connections, whether they are partnerships or friends or family, is a very integral part of nourishing your energy system, your mind, your heart, and your stability. The star is a wish fulfillment. It's a dream come true. It is a happier outcome than you could possibly have imagined. And I'm being reminded as I say that part of why it is essential to keep the flow in and out of the root chakra open is so that you can be open to receiving good surprises from the universe. Sometimes when we shut down to the world and isolate and shut off that flow on the root chakra, it's because we've experienced so many traumatic surprises, so many times of feeling blindsided, betrayed, like the rug was pulled out from under us, that it doesn't seem worth the risk or to open to positive surprises, or even possible for positive surprises to occur. And this is a reminder that it is. And the imagery on this card, the colors, the figure with silvery white hair flowing down, and waterfalls in the background, and these flowing rivers of energy pouring into and out of them, and this glowing light, white light above both of them, and all of this blue and all of this water imagery. As soon as I pulled the star card, I felt it was correlated to the goddess of the moon card and its message. I love that they're facing each other as well. It reminds me of two people reaching out to each other to just like in the Two of Cups, two people with full cups, two people who are lighthouses, who are able to nourish their own hearths, also turning to each other to tend each other's hearths, to fill each other's cups. So there's a reminder there to turn towards those people in your life and bolster yourself with those connections so as not to be depleted. And I'm also going to read the Goddess of the Moon message in the guidebook now. I'm being guided to do that so as to assist us with unpacking these messages from these two cards further. Goddess of the Moon, number 52, Intuition, Going Within. This card shows an eternal spirit holding the bright, reflective moon and standing in front of the crystal clear waters of a sparkling waterfall. Her arms are stretched upward, receiving the light of the moon, the light of inspiration. This card is all about intuition, the ability to receive insights from your soul's point of view. Receiving the card upright tells you that you have the power to get intuitive information on all types of issues, and now is the time to use it. The Goddess of the Moon brings you all sorts of information, from the mundane to the spectacular. For instance, you could get the urge to take a different route home from work and find out later that you avoided a 3-hour traffic jam. Or you might have an idea for a great invention, a stock investment, or a spellbinding novel. This card could also indicate a significant blossoming of a psychic ability or mediumship, even on a professional level. You are always blessed with this ability to connect, but this card is telling you that now is the perfect time to open up. Get ready for the amazing inspiration this brings. I am blown away by the synchronicity of some of the phrasings in this description with the messages that have already been channeled to me and through me. You've always been blessed with this ability to connect after emphasizing the importance of connections with other people and with the world around you so as to be nourished. And it is the perfect time to open up now when we've been guided repeatedly to focus and remember the importance of allowing ourselves to be open to receiving nourishment that we need from the world around us, that we cannot simply pretend we already have within. The importance of that openness to give and receive and to be in flow with the people around us. Wow. The very first message in the description as well, an eternal spirit holding the bright reflective moon. And then also the messages about connecting with your higher self and with spirit and with the ability to receive insights from your soul's eternal point of view. This is a reminder that you are a multidimensional being, and your soul is eternal. Through all strife on other dimensions, you can always tap into the eternal peace, light, love, whatever aspect of your soul, comfort, solace. You can always tap into that eternal wisdom of the soul, and the harmony with the soul can help you feel a sense of harmony and peace in the midst of events or times that are not peaceful. And I'm feeling this bright white light from the moon goddess, often called Selene, but often called other names as well. I'm feeling this bright white light being channeled through my heart to offer to this collective, to entrain to. It's even making my ears ring. So by being present, hearing my voice as I channel this energy and feeling that energy of deep peace that the moon is offering, you can receive healing and harmonizing from those vibrations. And I thank you so much. This is coming from Celine. I thank you so much for making the space to take deep breaths and simply be, to simply breathe, to simply be. It means more than you can know to this universe, she is saying. When all is frantic around you, and even when it seems that all is lost, and when it seems that you must join the fray and take immediate action, it means more to the universe than you can know, she is saying. I'm direct channeling from her now. It means more to the universe than you can know, for you to pause and take a stance of rest and receiving and connecting internally, to connect with her light, to connect with your own heart's light, and to act from that place, and only from that place, and never to settle for less. This is still coming from her. Never to settle for less. You want what is best for you. You want what is best for your family or loved ones. So do not settle for taking action from a place of frenetic chaos and confusion. You may not be able to, it is not beneficial to hold yourself to a standard of perfect peace, but it is of the utmost importance to tap into connection, flow, the fact that the universe is always in every single second of your life pouring infinite energy and wisdom and light into you. And the peace that you can find in that connection with the greater universe and with your own higher knowing. And the clarity that you can find in that higher knowing for what the next right thing to do, the next right choice to make is. It is of the utmost importance to connect with that in every single moment that you can, every single choice point that you find yourself in. So just to reiterate and summarize that last portion of her message, it is not beneficial to hold yourself to standards of perfection, to standards of perfect peace, you know, the spiritual bypass of you can be in bliss all the time. Sorry about that pause. I got a little distracted simply swaying in her energy. Whew. It is not beneficial to hold yourself to a cruel and impossible standard, but it is of the utmost importance to bring yourself back. And that was her message. Whew. And that is your guiding light, like the star, like the moon. Even when the sun appears to be gone, it comes back in the morning and you have the stars and the moon lighting your way in the meantime. So that is also part of her message. Turn towards her and her wisdom, turn towards the stars, and turn towards your emotions. There's so much water in these cards, and the moon is known for being connected with the emotions. So in your day-to-day life, you will have moments of the sun, of this happiness that is, as we've seen from the previous messages, assured for you. It's inevitable. There's a message in there as well. Happiness is just as inevitable as sorrow. The good surprises are just as inevitable as the bad ones. Healing is something that we choose, but it is always available to us, just as inevitable as the wounds that come with being in the physical dimension are. Wow, what a powerful message. and to return to the message I was in the middle of when that one came through, during those times that the moon goddess brought up of chaos and confusion, when it seems like everything is frenetic and it might even seem impossible not to get pulled into every which way, into the fray and into the confusion, when it seems like it is dark and all is lost and the sun is gone, the moon and the stars are with you. Always, always, always. So there are spirits, benevolent spirits, spirit guides, the goddess of the moon herself, the stars themselves, the awareness of the ever-coming dawn. These things will assure you that you are not alone when you are in those moments of darkness during the night, during the chaos and confusion. The clouds will clear. And in the meantime, you can draw on the strength of the moon and the stars, and even the hiding sun, to be the light in this situation, to be the moon or star being, lighting up this situation for the others around you. And that can make you a healer of the ages. There's no pressure with that. There's no pressure to, reach out to as many people as possible every single day. But by being that light for those around you, whether you are in a spiritual field or a psychological field or in retail, where God knows we all need psychological help. I've worked in retail as well, in any type of customer service. You keeping your own fire lit, like in this Healer of the Ages card and in this castle in the Ten of Wands depiction. You keeping your own fire lit, you keeping your own heart warm, you grounding in the connections physically in your life and with the spirit guides in your life who light your way, the truths that light your way, the values that light your way. That will make you a beacon and a healer for those around you, and I am feeling a stunning sense of completion. So is there anything else, spirit guides? They just really want me to reiterate once more: heal yourself, put on your own oxygen mask first, light the fire in your heart, and then trust your heart's guidance and your guidance from your connection to your own soul and to spirit, if you connect to spirit, in other ways besides connecting with your own heart and soul, because that is a way of connecting with spirit. Trust. When you feed your heart, when you nourish your root and your the rest of your chakra system, your feeling centers, when you are present with your own feelings and pour into yourself and allow yourself to be poured into by the things that make you feel love and the people that make you feel loved, trust that you will receive from that place all the guidance you need to step forward and offer what you can offer to the world, and that you do not need to do any more or less than that. Thank you so much for tuning in, Group 1. I truly hope these messages Celine is coming back through to tell me, you don't hope, you know. Celine is coming back through to tell me that she knows that through me this message will reach the people it needs to, and that it will land and provide what is needed. So thank you from her and from me for opening yourself, your heart, the space in your day and in your mind to receive the energy that she has channeled through my heart and into yours, and to receive these beautiful messages of reassurance and guidance. Thank you so much, Group 1. I'd say I'm wishing you a wonderful day, but with Celine here, I actually feel I should wish you a wonderful night. May your nights be eternally blessed by the light of the moon. And may your heart be eternally sanctified by the light of the moon, and by your own higher knowing, and by an unbreakable connection between your heart and Source itself. Thank you so much.